What's going on, everybody? Today in the film room, we're going to be taking a peek at the Steelers' run defense against the Chargers. LA came into this one with the league's leading rusher in J.K. Dobbins. Pittsburgh really shut it down from the jump, holding Dobbins to less than 3 yards per carry. So I'm just going to go over some reps that I really liked for various different reasons and talk through those. But before we get started, please make sure that you like, subscribe, drop me a comment. Just an easy way to help support the channel, and I really appreciate it. So without further ado, here we go. So coming into the week, we talked about how the Chargers under new offensive coordinator Greg Roman love their two-back sets, leading the entire league in two-back usage. Their fullback is a converted 290-pound offensive lineman. Out of these sets, they ran the ball about 89% of the time coming in. So very little smoke and mirrors about what you're going to be expecting. Here, the Chargers are going to be running a zone play. And they're going to have their wide receiver at the top of the screen try to crack the safety and leave the cornerback unblocked. Now, I like this play for a couple different reasons and wanted to show it. First and foremost, big number 97 right here is having a heck of a start to the season. You'll see him shock, grab, and toss the tackle right aside there. That's a pretty good player in Rashawn Slater, who's been a really good player since he came into the league, but LA really had no answer for number 97, and you'll see that really throughout these clips. Now, a couple other things I like is, we talked about the Steelers, bringing in Patrick Queen. He's going to be matched up with number 44, that kind of converted fullback for the Chargers. Disengages from this block, gets his shoulder square, and then he's going to lay a pretty punishing tackle right here. One of the things I like about Queen's game is not only does he have the range to roam sideline to sideline, but also like the hit power at the point of attack to kind of eliminate those yards after contact for some of these bigger backs that they were going to see with the Chargers. And then also I want to bring up, Dante Jackson just being willing, as a smaller corner to come down and run support. That was really a theme, and we'll show some examples of that, but that was something that has kind of shown up and transferred quite well from his Carolina tape. On the very next play, the Chargers are going to come out in pistol, going to be running wide zone to the weak side. With the amount of two-back and multi-tight end sets in this offense, Pittsburgh is going to be playing a lot of base, which you see them come out in their 3-4 defense. It also kind of helps because, pistol, wide zone, this is all stuff that the Steelers see a significant amount in practice, just going up against Arthur Smith's offense. I really like this job right here by TJ Watt, just taking back space and creating some knockback at the point of attack on the tight end. That's a block that you would expect like your edge rushers that you pay a lot of money to win, but it does force this ball back inside to the defensive linemen and the linebackers that are, trying to fast flow from behind. And really like this rep from Keanu Benton. Obviously, he's fired up about the run stop right there. But I really like this as he's kind of running down the line of scrimmage. He's not content just staying blocked. He does a good job, getting his eyes on the back. He recognizes it's going to be a run to the perimeter and a really nice club and swim move to kind of fight pressure with pressure and use that center's kind of momentum against him to kind of swim by, make a really nice play away from his gap. And I think this is really an example of like some of the things that Benton can do for you at nose tackle. He's not the traditional, old school plugger at the zero tech, but his athleticism to make plays away from his gap makes him a pretty valuable player in a defense like this. Next play here, the Chargers still trying to be in heavy personnel, got a tight end on the field, still using the fullback. This is just a zone read variation. I think the Steelers do a really good job here of just clogging up their gaps, and they get some kind of pretty nice contributions here from some backups, some unexpected contributors, in my opinion. I thought Isaiah Loudermilk had a couple really nice reps as a run defender in this game. You'll see kind of off the ball right here, Heyward pretty much bench presses this offensive lineman on the backside, which I really like. Again, not showing any signs of slowing down from a power profile perspective. But I really like this rep from Loudermilk as well, just holding his gap and then a really nice job deconstructing this block, peeking back outside, and you can see like they've got everything bottled up. The Chargers are still trying to block Watt with a tight end. That's really not going to work. Even if this ball, somehow does squeeze through this gap, you've got a Landon Roberts right there willing to take on that fullback. This is a gain of, I think, 1 yard or something like that. And, we talked about this in the preview. The Chargers are going to be really run heavy on early downs. And throughout this game, the Chargers were really only successful on 24% of their early down runs. So what does that do? It consistently puts a quarterback who's dealing with a bad ankle. It puts them behind the chains, forces them to throw the ball on third down. And I think as the game wore on, you kind of saw, a lot of third and long situations where the Steelers pass rushers were really able to tee off and get after the quarterback, and that's really what they do best. Now moving on into the second quarter of this one, again, Steelers in base defense. Chargers going to come out, run a little GT counter, so a little power play. Really nice reps here, really across the board, but kind of want to highlight just a couple guys. Once again, Cam Heyward. I think the mark of like great players in general, not only is Heyward doing this as a 35-year-old, but when you're doing it up against elite competition, that really stands out to me. You'll see him really, again, just take on blocks and just stack and shed. I mean, look at the hand placement. You see how tight his hands are. He's playing with a great base, just slingshots, one of the better tackles that we've got in this league, straight to the ground. I mean, this isn't even a fair fight. Slater's on the ground by the time the back takes the handoff. You see the linebackers right here, Queen flowing over the top. Landon Roberts, he's already pointing out where this ball is going to. These guys are familiar with this type of offense. This is why you bring in these type of linebackers. But also, I really like this rep from Alex Highsmith, too. You'll see him quick spin right over that fullback to generate some penetration in the backfield. And really, that's really what it came down to. I felt like not only guys, winning their blocks, but guys were in the backfield as soon as the backs were able to, pretty much take the handoff. And when you get these downhill type of backs, if you can stop them in the backfield and obviously plug up the gaps, there's nowhere for this ball to go. You look at how many black jerseys they've got. There's nowhere for 27 to go right here. And again, it's just another really nice early down run stop to put the offense behind the chains. All right, still in the second quarter here. Chargers, another heavy personnel look. They're going to be running a nice trap play right here. So this is a really tough one if you're the 3-tech. You'll see Loudermilk kind of get knocked off balance because basically what they're allowing him to do is get upfield to kind of wham block him from the backside. So it's always a tough one as a 3-tech trying to defend this play. But some of the things I like about this, you'll see Queen, shoot the gap here very quickly, and the ball ends up hitting right behind him. Now, from right here, Landon Roberts, I think this is like textbook linebacker play. You'll see him get his shoulders square right to the back and then strike him. And then there's 0 yards after contact. And just some of the numbers like I looked up before I started recording the video that I kind of wanted to talk about. Dobbins, he only averaged like 1.8 yards after contact. The Steelers as a team missed 3 tackles. Dobbins forced 1 missed tackle all day. So it's like stuff like that when we talk about, this game was going to be decided by who was the more physical team, 8 guys in the box, heavy personnel, this kind of smash mouth game. I thought the Steelers really rose to the occasion from a tackling perspective too, because they really needed to be good wrap-up tacklers this week. Dobbins was a guy, he came into this one with 100 yards and a touchdown in each of his first 2 games, and they really shut him down, kept him out of the end zone, under 3 yards per carry, 1 forced missed tackle. It's just great team run defense. This is a really interesting play right here. This is 2nd and 7, obviously in the red zone. But even though the Chargers have 2 tight ends on the field, the Steelers are going to respond with their nickel defense. So that brings Beanie Bishop on the field as a slot corner. And this is a really good rep from him. I noticed this one live, and I really wanted to point this one out for you guys because I really appreciated, his contribution to this play, even though it doesn't go down as anything in the box score. I think one of the things that make the Steelers outside linebackers really great is Watt does a really good job on these outside zone tosses to the perimeter of knifing inside and getting quickly upfield. He gets a lot of his TFLs off of this stuff. Now, obviously, with that, there comes a little bit of a risk, right? So they're kind of running this Zorro motion that a lot of teams are doing right now. It's basically just to get a double team on the edge, and the slider coming across the formation. Basically, this turns into a 2-on-1 on the edge defender, and that's why they're doing this, is to give him some extra attention. Now, watch what Bishop does. Him and Watt basically gap exchange this. He jumps outside to maintain containment on the play and forces this ball back to his help. I mean, it's just a really smart play from the nickel, whether that's like him by design or whether that's him reading kind of Watt's movements, whatever that be. It's a huge part in turning this play into, a negligible gain. And just, again, we could turn this thing into a Cam Heyward video, to be completely honest with you. The fact that, he's still a guy that at this stage of his career, you can't reach block on the backside and he's running plays down away from his gap is just absolutely insane as a 35-year-old. And again, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention, Alex Highsmith trying to fast flow from behind too. The effort on these plays to get as many hats to the ball as possible was really all over their tape from the game, and a big part of the reason that they held him to 10 points. I'd be remiss, too, if I didn't mention that right after that last stop by Heyward, forces him into 3rd and long. He ends up pushing the pocket on Herbert, and Herbert sails a throw that could have been a touchdown in the end zone. So, again, it's just kind of playing complementary football, run defense, forcing them into passing situations, and then his contributions really throughout this game. And here's yet another example. Like I said, this could be a video solely dedicated to him, but you're going to see another play right here where he just completely destroys this thing. He was a game wrecker really all day long. This is the 4th quarter, so they got their backup quarterback in. Again, you'll just see the amount of power in his hands and the way that he's playing right now. They're trying to block him. He's lined up basically as a 7 technique right here on the inside shade of the tackle, or the tight end, excuse me. He basically bench presses this guy. Again, great base. You just see the strength. This guy has no chance. But again, he's going to bench press this guy, get his eyes inside. He notices the puller, understands where the ball is going to go, basically tackles the ball carrier and the puller at the same time for, I think, a loss of 2. These type of superhuman plays are, just unreal, man. For a 35-year-old to be playing at this sort of level, he's among the league leaders in terms of run stops. He's also contributing as a pass rusher. This looks like a dude that, is going to be a value at the contract number that we're talking about from an extension standpoint. Just a fantastic play right here to really cap off an exceptional game. Pittsburgh's off to a really hot start on the defensive side of the ball. Right now, they're 1st in points per drive. They're 1st in EPA per play, 1st in rushing EPA per play. I think 4th in rushing success rate on the defensive side of the ball. And obviously, they got a lot of great players in the front 7. We talked about all offseason that I thought that they had the talent to be potentially the best front 7 in the league. But in terms of taking a really good defense or a really good run unit to the next level, if you want to be a great run defense, I'm a firm believer that your corners have to tackle. And this was a problem at times last year. Through the first half of the season, I thought the Steelers got gashed with big plays because their corners either weren't willing to tackle, weren't good tacklers, weren't in the right spot to tackle. And then, like I mentioned earlier in the video, I think that I've really appreciated Dante Jackson's willingness to come down and be a tackler. But even plays like this, I don't think that this is a play that Joey Porter makes last year. And I think that this is a really cool development for him to trust his eyes, shoot a gap like this, and make a tackle in space on the NFL's leading rusher for a loss of 3. And obviously he's jacked up. The coaching staff loves it. You see everybody's really excited. But again, there's so much of NFL rushing attacks right now designed to make your cornerbacks tackle, whether it be in space, on quick throws to the perimeter. It's just such a underrated part of the position. And this is something that Porter's improved drastically at over the past year. And this plays like this get me really fired up about, where this defense could potentially go the rest of the season. Leading up to the game, we talked about it in the preview. I wrote about it this week, but the Chargers had a real physical feel to how they wanted to approach the game, especially on the offensive side of the ball. And even though I thought the Steelers, could match their personnel and match that physicality on paper, I was really excited to see what it looked like once they hit the field. And I think we got our answer as far as, this Steelers defense is going to be really good, but they're also really tough. And I was really impressed by just how they owned the line of scrimmage. They got some superhuman type of performances, obviously from Cam Heyward as a run defender, his ability to create knockback, displacement. They were getting up the field. He was stacking and shedding guys like nobody's business, and all that's really impressive. But I thought the contributions that they got from some of the other guys were really impressive too. And I think it just goes back to, a phrase that I've heard like Mike Tomlin use from time to time. Coaches use this to talk about how defense works. But you have to earn the right to rush the passer. And I thought that their ability to really stall out Los Angeles's rushing attack really in the second half paid massive dividends because they ended up getting 5 sacks on Herbert and the backup quarterbacks. It allowed guys like TJ Watt, Nick Herbig to really get off and win one-on-one matchups against their tackles. And this is kind of how the Steelers defense really needs to be built. They've got all the tools and the ingredients to be a great defense. And I'm excited about what it's going to look like throughout the rest of the season, where this thing can go, because I think the talent level is definitely there. Really impressive performance for the defense. I appreciate you guys kicking it with me, watching the entire video. If you're looking for even more film room content, consider becoming a member to the channel. I will leave the link in the description. Basically, you get even more film room content. I do some deep dives over there that will become available for you immediately as soon as you sign up for the Pro Bowl level. It's the cost of a small coffee per month. This week, I'm going to be looking at some of the things that I thought that Justin Fields showed some significant improvement in throughout this game. I thought that he had a really nice performance as well. So just on your way out, if you could, like the video, subscribe, drop me a comment. Let me know what y'all thought of the Steelers' defensive performance, and I will check you guys next time. Peace and love.